Hello, welcome back to another episode of Let's Be Real 100%, where this podcast is about helping others and allowing them to know that they're not alone in a whole lot of areas in life. I want to welcome again Miss Amber to our podcast. Hello.
Hi.
How's your day going so far?
Oh, it's going so good. Thank you so much for having me again.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, um, again, I'm gonna think of an icebreaker off the top of my head, like I usually do. But I usually start it off with an icebreaker so that we can, break ground. We broke ground before, but do it again. So, um, what book are you reading right now, and what is it doing for you?
Oh my goodness. Oh, you asked me that way too fast. I
Oh,
read too
I'm
many.
sorry.
No, no, you're good. I'm the type of person who always has like three different books going on all at the same time.
Right.
So I just finished. I'm gonna tell you the book I just finished.
Okay.
Because I have like two others I'm reading. I am just finished The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, the Suzanne Collins one.
I haven't heard of
Um,
it. I can go ahead.
so I know that's probably like what impact has it had in my life? Probably not much because it's a Suzanne Collins like Hunger Games, the prequel.
Okay, gotcha.
Oh, it's a fictional book. But what I'm trying to do when I read is like pick out like what can I learn from these
Hmm.
situations and what can I learn from like these fictional events? Because I always try to have my mind active while I'm reading. So I always feel like I just can pick out like how characters reacted and
Hmm.
kind of either where they went wrong or what they did
Right,
right or like
right.
where their turning point was.
Like if I was in their shoes, what would I have done? Like what could be
Yes.
done better? Like yeah, that's a really good. I think I've seen the movies, but I have not read the book. So I know the book. Usually books have way more detail
Oh, yeah.
than movies, so it's definitely something to. Because I think I watched the movie Shaq, I think, and then I read the book, and I was like,
Night and day
total
sometimes.
different. Like it's a lot more in the book than it is in the movie. Which the
Oh,
movie
yeah.
was really good, but the book was better. So I
Mhm.
definitely enjoy those things. So so now we can go ahead and you can again tell us about yourself, um, and from the beginning.
Yeah. So my name is Amber. I am a wife and a mom and a Christian and a soon to be published author. But I I'm still trying to figure out who I am. Like that's we're all on this journey, figuring out who we are. And especially as a mom, because I feel like I kind of lost who I was as a person
Mhm.
becoming a mom because I've always wanted to be a mom. Like that was my goal. I wanted to be a mom and a wife and all of that fun stuff. But I feel like more often than not, when you're completely focusing on others, you almost lose yourself, which can be a good thing and which can be a really hard thing.
Right. Absolutely. So when you thought to be a parent, when you wanted to be a wife and a parent, like what did you visualize it as before you even became those had those titles in your life?
Yeah, so I like as a kid, I was always like, "Oh, life is bliss," right? As a kid, you're
Right.
ignorant to all the craziness going
Right.
on around. So I just imagined like that. I don't even know exactly what I imagined. You just have this like, "Oh, my kid is gonna be so wonderful. I'm
Right.
just gonna love them all the time. Like, my kids are gonna be great. I'm gonna love being pregnant because it's just such a beautiful thing." And then all of a sudden you get pregnant and you're like, "This stinks. Like, I
Right.
hate this." Like,
Yeah.
at least for me, like, it was something that I struggled day every single
Yes.
day, the whole 9 months, like well, I guess she came 3 weeks early, but, like, I struggled, and then I
Wow.
was like, "Is this what parenting is gonna be like?" Like,
Yeah.
is this
Exactly.
already my perception was shattered, like,
Right.
and
I
then all
get
of a sudden you hold this
that.
bundle of joy and you're like, "Oh, she's so beautiful," and then hormones hit you and you're like, "Why am I hating life even though I have this beautiful child in my
Right.
arms?"
Right. Exactly. That whole shift. It's a you feel like it's worth it at the end, but you be like yeah, no, because I know I have four, so it's like every one of them were different, and I'm like, after that fourth one, I finally got that girl at the end. I was like, Lord, it's okay. I'm okay. Like I don't, I'm good. I'll pass. You bless me with four, and I am good with that. Cause I'm
Mhm.
like the nausea, the stress, the feet swelling, the fluids, the whole 9 yards is just not fun. But when you hold that bundle of joy and be like, "Child, only if you knew what you put me through,"
It's
like,
so true.
like,
It is so
but
true.
but it's definitely worth it. So as far as you being a wife, like, what did you think of? What did you think it was going to consist of when you got married?
Yeah, so at one of the reoccurring lessons in church was always like, "What's your 5-year plan? What's your 10-year plan? What is your ideal husband? Like, what is your ideal family?"
Does that
And
mean
so
like
I
what
know.
year is this?
That was like so it was like young women's, like that was the age it was 12 to 18.
Okay.
And it was like a constant like a reoccurring lesson for different teachers. And so it was always on like the forefront of my head. Like I want to get married and have a
Right.
family and my husband is going to be this super strong Christian man and
Right.
he's just going to work hard and we're going to have a perfect little family. Like you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
And
Um,
I get married, right? Like
right.
to I get married to a man who shares the same faith I do, who's super wonderful. But then all of a sudden you're living with this person who you're starting to see quirks that are a little different and you're
Yes.
like the way I like to explain it was
Where's the
or that
person?
it was explained to me was like, "Where's where's my can opener?" Like like that
Right.
was what one of my really good friends when I was younger would say. Like she was like, I couldn't find my can opener and I was so mad because he had moved to where I wanted the can opener. And
Yeah.
like that's how I kind of perceived it of like this isn't what I thought it was going to be. Like
Right.
marriage is not this glorified
Yes.
all encompassing. God is always like he's just blessing us day and night. It is work
Yes.
and it is hard, but
Yes.
it's worth it.
It is. It's definitely worth it because it's like you have two complete people, two complete personalities, two complete attitudes, two complete everything. It's like, and like when you're dating, everything is good. You can go your way, I go mine. You know, we're good. But once you come together under one roof, it's like, who are you? Like, you wasn't the guy I was dating last week. Like, what just happened? What shifted to where like this was
Yeah.
not what I expected? I can definitely, I can definitely say the same thing after being married for 12 years now, going on 13.
Congratulations.
Yeah, going
Wow.
on 13. It's like it's still a learning process. Like
Mhm.
people change every day.
Yeah.
Their minds change to how to cater to them every single day, and then you add kids on top of it.
Yes. Yep.
It's a
It's so true.
whole nother story. It's a whole nother ball game. That's what I'm saying. Like last time we were talking about the different hats that a mom wears, like, the cook, the clean,
Mhm.
the nurturer, the disciplinary, all these things, the wife, all those things, that we have to, balance. So it's not easy. But again, at the end of the day, it is worth it. You just gotta
Mhm.
be willing to do the work to get it done. So
Yes, yeah, and I felt like growing up, my parents, were always very big on, like, who we are and, like, being bold and, like, I felt like each like, me and each of my siblings were all very bold and strong personalities,
mhm.
so I can be a little hard-headed at times, I know that. But, like, I go into this and I'm like, "This is who I am," and then all of a sudden you're married, and all of a sudden you have a kid and you're like, I don't know who the heck I am anymore. Like,
Right.
I am no longer that person who I
Yes.
was when I was single. I am no longer that young woman, that 18-year-old or like 12 to 18-year-old who's like, life is so going to
Yes.
be wonderful and dandy and skipping around. And all of a sudden I have to like figure out who I am as I'm trying to teach my daughter who she is. And as I'm trying to teach her, like, figure out for yourself what you stand for and it's a journey. Like, it's something we're going through
Right.
every day because 'cause we're constantly changing.
Yes, exactly, exactly. So when you got married and well, first of all, when you got married, do you feel like you had to put a lot of yourself to the side? like to make something, new? Like did you lose yourself in somewhere of that when you got married? Not when you had a kid, yeah, because I know
Mhm.
that's a whole nother ball
Yeah.
game. But when you got married, did you, what I'm saying, how did you bring yourself to the table, or did you lose
Yeah.
yourself?
Well, I feel like we always I'm trying to figure out, I guess, what exact like how to put into words what I was feeling. Because I feel like it wasn't necessarily losing, but growing. And
Hmm.
then in the process of growing, you kind of have to like let certain things go. So I felt like when I got married at the time, it was definitely like I am losing a large chunk of who I am. Like I had an extremely hard time changing my name. Like I still legally have it
You
because
do.
I was like, we are living in your state. Like we are living by your family. Like we are all of a sudden like doing the things you like to do.
Right.
Um, which are things that I didn't grow up doing, or not things that I didn't enjoy because I enjoyed his family, and not things that I didn't love because I loved the state. But
Right.
all of a sudden, like I am in almost felt like I was in your realm. And I'm like that's my identity. Like
Right.
Amber Parr. Like that is who I was growing up. So how the heck am I even gonna get rid of that? Like that, like I couldn't even let go of like, I'll take on your name, Burdett, because it was who I was. And I felt
Right.
like that was the one thing that tied me still to my family.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, like I had this realization that like um like God and Jesus Christ, like they're they're with us always and like they're part of the family. And like we are literally sons and daughters of a loving heavenly father, and
Right.
he loves us so much. But just because we have like a name change, or just because we're all of a sudden in a new family and trying to like be in a new situation, doesn't mean we've
Right.
lost who we are. We're just growing and adapting. So yes, I felt like I lost a huge chunk, but then all this like I'm trying to change that mindset still. We've been married for 3 almost 4 years.
Okay.
So I'm still trying to like figure out who I currently am, because I do get wrapped up sometimes in the I'm still by your family. Like I'm still doing your thing, the things that you love, and
Right.
still now with a kid trying to figure out what do I love? Like what do I want to do?
Right. So in that, you usually, when you're in your alone time thinking about who Amber Parr was and who Amber Parr Burdett is, like in your alone time, how do you process that? Like, are you just journalizing and check marking like what your goals was as Parr versus Burdett?
No, I think it's more because I mean, of course, I want to reflect on who I was, but I
Yeah.
think it's more establishing like my values in life. Like, what do I stand for? And I'm a Christian woman, hands down. Like, I am a Christian woman, and I want my daughter to be a Christian woman, and I'm a mother, and those are all parts of my identity. But if I take away all of that and I'm no longer around anybody and I'm just by myself, like I process by writing and by thinking, and by analyzing, and I'm like, who would I be without being around anybody? And
Right.
I'm still all of those things, but I'm also a writer. I'm also like I feel like a friend. I'm also a strong person, a strong-willed person who is constantly adapting to figure out who they are, but trying to learn what I stand for. Like, what is the moral of my story? And
Yes.
that's a process. It's a journey. And I don't know if I have that answer yet. Like, I don't have a full, this is who I am, because it's going to keep changing and growing.
Yes, this is who I am at the moment.
Yeah.
Because tomorrow I might be,
Yes.
it'd be something else. Hopefully, all good things. So I know we talked about the last time, which did not get recorded, but um, you were talking about the moral of the story is, and that's where your foundation is. Could you tell us about how that came about?
Yeah, so growing up, my dad, both my parents would tell us stories, bedtime stories. Growing up, I had 5 siblings, so we were a family of 8. And my dad would tell us these stories called Susie and Zach's. Um, and they were just at the end of every story, he would say, the moral of the story is, and we would each kind of have to answer that. Like, what did we take from this?
Right.
It's so interesting when you just have an open-ended sentence, or like that question of like, what's the moral of the story?
Mhm.
How many different lessons you can glean from
Yeah.
one story, like what that person's focus is. And I felt like that's something I needed to hold on to, because that's something I'm constantly asking myself. Like, what is the moral of my story? And I felt like growing up, I had a lot of health issues. I
Sure.
still have health issues I'm figuring out. I have, just a thyroid condition and some food allergies that we didn't know about till I was, 20, till I was 19, 20. So, I was constantly sick, and I felt like I was that person who's constantly reaching out to Christ, like that woman with the issue of blood. Like, I felt like I was constantly reaching out to Christ and, like, looking for him and trying to be in that place so I could just touch his robes and be healed.
Right.
And then at the same exact time, after, like, I was diagnosed, all of a sudden, I realized maybe I'm more like Jairus, who was the person who originally that's who Christ was following when he stopped to heal the woman with the issue of blood. And if you remember, his daughter was sick on her deathbed, and he was like, "Please come, please help heal her."
Right.
And once he healed the woman with the issue of blood, all of a sudden, Jairus received the news that his daughter had passed away, and he was like, "There's
Right.
no point anymore. She didn't make it." And this next part is I kinda try to, like, put myself in their shoes, like, what how would I react? And I felt like as I would have been that person who's like, really? Like, I was with Christ, he was
Right.
following me, he I was saying, like, "Come with me, come, like, heal my daughter over here," and all of a
Right.
sudden, you stop to heal this woman who's had an issue with her blood for years, while
Right.
my daughter is literally on her deathbed and died while you're healing this person, and
Right.
I'm realizing, like, I'm trying to drag Christ around, and he's like, "I'll come to you in your time." Like,
Yes.
I haven't forgotten you.
Yes.
And he still goes and he still raises her from the dead. And
Right.
all of a sudden, Jairus is super happy. And I'm realizing, like, I'm still trying to pull Christ and be like, What am I here? Like, what's my purpose? What values do I need to stand for? Like, I know I'm a
Yeah.
Christian woman, but what does that actually mean? Like, how do I actually teach my daughter to be this strong willed person?" And he's like, "Calm down. Like, I'm helping you. I'm helping others too, but I'm helping you. And we'll figure out the moral of your story as you go through your story."
That's amazing. That's a lot. No, we're gonna write that because I can definitely relate to that. Only because of course I have the health issues with the one like the woman with the issue of blood. How you like you said we're dragging God like okay what about me? What's going on? Like I'm seeing you do this and I'm seeing you do that. I'm hearing the testimonies, but I'm like listen, I've been praying to you this same prayer for over 15 years. Like, I need,
Mhm.
something to happen. Like, what about me? So, when God had to sit me down, like He said, if you down and everybody else down, like I'm getting to you, like, but there's a reason why you're in the position that you're in now, so that you
Mhm.
can, so that I can get the glory out of, what you're dealing with and how you handling it and everything like that. So I definitely get that because I'm like, I actually went to the doctor yesterday and I was like, we've been here. I told my mom, I said, man, we've been here over 15 years. And then she looked at me and she was like, it's still not getting old. This is still new to me. Like I'm just not understanding, because we're all
Yeah.
believers and we know what God can do and what he
Mhm.
will do. But it's the fact that we have to go through the process of, being patient
Yeah.
and learning.
Oh, yeah.
Thank God, because patience is not my friend. I'm telling you right now,
Mm.
I will never ask for patience a day in my life. I will ever, but I always seem to be put in a position. But hey, if I gotta grow in it, I gotta grow in it. But it's all good. But I definitely agree. I definitely agree with you when you pull in Christ, but yet at the same time, all right, Lord, what is my purpose? Like, what am I supposed to do? While I'm in this position or in this state of being, what am I supposed to do with this? So, and then also again, adding being a mother or being a wife, how am I supposed to process this? How am I working it out? Being a mother, what am I supposed to do? Like, what is my purpose in all of this? So, yeah, we're gonna figure out the moral of the story as we
Mhm.
continue, going on. And I know the end of the story is gonna be fantastic. So I'm looking forward to that. Definitely looking forward to that
Yes.
for sure. Um, Also in the other conversation we had, you were talking about how you went on a mission,
Yeah.
and if you could, go into that and see that story.
Yeah. So I, at 19 went and served a full-time mission for my church. It was a full-time proselyting mission. It was across the country in California. I'm from Ohio originally. It was in Arcadia, California, but it kind of surrounded more like East LA.
Mm.
Um, and that was when I started to get extremely sick. That was when it just took it to the whole nother level of like something is wrong. But I felt like I was supposed to be there. And there were days where I was just so depressed and so anxious because I'm on a proselyting mission. I am teaching people about Jesus Christ and how to come unto Christ and how to find the moral of their stories and
Right.
make Christ a part of that story. While I feel like I'm literally destroying, like being destroyed, like being
Right.
ripped apart from the inside and depressed and anxious and like I can't move forward. And I feel like at the same time I'm super close to Christ, but not close enough to be able to touch his robes, not
Right.
close enough to be able to be healed.
Right. Right.
um, and then all of a sudden I just had this like after a year. So it was a year of tests and seeing 8 plus doctors and constantly being told like, well, I don't see anything wrong with you. And even one night I went to the emergency room and just in pain. And they thought I was there for drugs. That I
Wow.
was, and I was like, first of all, I'm wearing a name tag that has like Jesus Christ's name on it. Like
Right. Like that doesn't match at all. Like at all.
I promise I'm not here for drugs. I am in pain. Like I don't even want medicine. I want to know what's wrong with me. I just
Yes.
felt so alone. And I felt like I had my testimony,
Mhm.
but I felt like what is the point in even being here if I can't do things? Like what
Right.
is the point in teaching others to rely on Christ if I'm obviously not relying on him enough?
Right.
And then all of a sudden this like calming peace came over me. And I remembered certain values that my parents had taught me, such as like finding the moral of my story, or certain values such as like the Max Lucado, you are special.
Mhm.
And in that book, he says, you are special because you are mine. And he has a you are special and a you are mine book. And it's all about this wooden, basically like these wooden people. And
Mhm.
this wooden person feels like he is completely lost in this world because he doesn't have enough talent and he's not special enough. And he just keeps, he's a klutz. And I just kind of related to that. And that story came to mind. And he goes to the woodmaker, Eli, who's a symbol of God and of the Savior, Jesus Christ. And he's like, "You're special because you're mine." And I had that overwhelming peace of like, I am his. Like he is a loving heavenly father. I'm his daughter. Like I know we're all sons and daughters, but right now, like we're talking about me and
Me.
I am his daughter. He loves me and
Right.
I am special because I am his.
Right.
And I just sat there for a minute, and as soon as that feeling of peace kinda, like, washed over me, I received a phone call from the doctor letting me know I had Hashimoto's, and letting me know that I had celiac and a dairy allergy, which are
Right.
all things that are extremely manageable with medication and proper diet. And I was like, "It took a year." Like, kinda had, like, that natural man come back of, like, "It took a year."
Right. For real.
But now I have this answer. Like, now I know how to move forward. And like I still have these issues and I still like pregnancy was rough because of the hormone, the thyroid issue.
Right.
And I still sometimes doubt that my voice is being heard. But I felt like he does hear my voice and he is there when I need him. And just in that moment when I'm about to quit, just in that moment when I'm about to stop reaching out,
Yes.
that is when he's like, I'm right here and I've been here the whole time and
Right.
you are mine and all of you are my children.
Right. It took you to get to the point where you had to truly realize that I'm his, regardless of where I am and what I'm thinking at this moment. Because again, going through those processes of going through doctor to doctor, and it's like there's no answer. Like there's nothing. Like you can't. There's nothing you can do. You're just in pain all the time, and it's like, all right, Lord, I done did this and I did that. Like the woman with the issue of blood, she done spent her money, she don't want the doctor, and like,
Mhm.
you know what, Lord, you're not you're in town now, so I'm gonna come to you. I'm gonna just sit back and I'm just thank you for this. And as soon as you get to that point, that's when God answers, and it's like if I would just did that like a year ago, like I wouldn't be in the situation I'm in right now.
Right.
But it was a process of God allowing you to understand and to for you to realize that He is really there for you. Like, He can show up at any time, but when you realize in your mind and in your heart that He's literally right there in front of you, then that's when He
Yeah.
starts to move and really to move on our behalf, pretty much. Even though He's moving in the background always, the scales tend to fall off our eyes at one point to
Yes, it
believe
takes
that.
us to be completely broken sometimes,
Yes, yes,
broken and shattered and feeling like it's impossible. Like we
yes,
almost forget that with God, all things are possible. But like it is impossible for
right,
anybody to heal me, anyone to put me back together. And
right,
all of a sudden, God's like, you said impossible. Like you're completely shattered.
right.
I'm here. Like I will put you back together time and time again.
Yes, it's just a drop in the bucket for him. To be honest, it's like,
Mhm.
oh, you worry about that? Like, okay, I got you. You
Oh yeah.
know, crazy because doctors can only go so far. They can only give you what they've learned, over the years, and whatever God drops in their spirit at that time, even if they
Mhm.
don't know it or not, you know, they can only, say so much. And he'll create it like for you, for a whole year and a half going through 8 doctors over and over again. He created to where they can't find anything that he created them to be like, I'm dumbfounded about what's going on. Like this should be something simple because we done did surgeries, we done did brain, we done
Mhm.
did with the heart, we done did with the lungs, like, but something as simple as this, like we can't put our finger on it, but it wasn't up to them to put their finger on it at the time because it
Right.
wasn't time for you to know, like, you haven't realized it yet that God was there with you. So
Mhm.
it took him to create those moments.
Yeah.
So that's amazing because listen, I'm with you now. Like, it's been 15 years for me, but I'm like, all right, Lord, all right, whatever, whatever it is that needs to be shown, like for your glory to be said, to be shown, then have at it. Like, I was just talking to another lady a minute ago, and like, I swear, we were like mirrors because I was like, oh my God, this woman here, like, it's crazy, But it was like, she, began to talk about, um, our journeys and how, um, Lord, I just lost my train of thought just that quick. That's crazy. Like, it's just like I lost my train. I don't even know what just happened, but I just lost my train of thought.
Oh,
But
you're good.
it's just amazing how God. It's amazing how God works.
Yeah.
Um, in our journey, and I know that most of our journeys are not for us because I remember you saying last time how one night you were like in complete excruciating pain, but you was obedient to going to a young lady and ministering to her and allowing her to know that God loves you, and I'm gonna let you tell the story because I probably gonna butcher it to death,
Oh,
but
no, just like you said, like there were times where like I didn't want to go out. I did not want to leave the house. And at the very beginning of the sickness, especially where it was like I didn't want to push through. I just kind of wanted to concave in. And um I remember there being this one time where I was like, fine, like we'll go on the bus, we'll go out and find people to preach to, and like we'll go out and teach people that they're children of God, even though I'm doubting that I'm a child of God right now. And I remember just feeling so broken and so alone and seeing one woman who also looked broken and alone, just kind of asking her about her relationship with God. And gonna be really honest, didn't really give it much thought after that night at all. And then a year later, it was like the day before I was going home for like the mission was over. It was an 18-month thing. Um, all of a sudden this woman comes up to me. She goes, I know who you are. I'm looking for you. Like, all like you gave me this pamphlet, like you helped me understand who God was and like that we all have a purpose here. And like she was super animated and like had like
sure,
found me and like you changed my life. And
right,
all of a sudden I'm like, I'm so happy I changed. Like I'm so happy that the words that I shared with you, like God's words, at a time where I felt completely alone, at a time where I didn't even know if I felt these words resonated
right,
with you. And it's like our stories and our words have a bigger impact than we will ever realize sometimes.
yeah,
Like if you look back at the beginning, the What's your 5-year plan? What's your 10-year plan?"
Right.
I am not living my 10-year plan. I am not living my 5-year plan. My 5-year plan went out the window as
Yeah.
soon as, like, I thought I'd be married with 3 kids by now and just, super happy all the time, and
Right.
my kids would be perfect angels, but there's still days where I am in shambles and I'm like, "I'm making no impact on the world," and I'll remember that story of, like, because I shared my testimony of Jesus Christ, because
Mhm.
I shared my knowledge of being a child of a loving Heavenly Father, being a
Right.
child of a Heavenly Father who loves us and whom I love,
Mhm.
it impacted at least one person's life. And I talked to thousands of people over the course of those 18 months, and I've talked to I don't even know how many people over the course of my 26 years of life.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't know who I've affected, but I don't need to know.
Yes.
Because God knows,
Right.
because He's leading my life, and as long as I stay true to my moral values, as
Yeah.
long as I set like, I am that child of God, and I want others to know who they are. I want
Mhm.
others to decide what their values are in life, whether that be family or whether that be, integrity or all of the above. As
Right.
long as they're trying the best they can, then I feel like I've succeeded. Like, I feel like I've let others be heard that
Mhm.
and know that they are loved.
Right. When you said that about the lady, I thought about the leopards, where there was 10 of them that got touched, but it was only that one that literally sought God like he was a hound for real. Like he sniffed out God to where wherever he was, no telling how far he traveled just to get back to where God really was. You know, he wanted to come back and be like, you know what you said, what you did, it really blessed me. It helped me. It healed me. And and then after that, he was made whole. So for the woman that you reached, it's like after even 18 months, she knew exactly what you were. Like your face was like in her vision the whole time trying to find you just to say thank you by, the words that you said, because we can get comfortable, ministering to people and it just becomes so common. Like you said, you don't talk to thousands of people, but it's like, I don't know if it's helping, but that seed that you did plant, it helped her a lot. And
Mhm,
that says a lot on who God is in your life as a,
mhm.
personally, to be able to share your story as well. So I know that you are in a process. You said you're about to be an author, correct? Well,
Yeah, so yes, sorry, excuse me.
you're
Oh,
fine.
I'm getting emotional over here 'cause yeah. Yeah, so, I felt like those children's stories that my dad told me, those Susie and Zach stories,
Mhm.
made such an impact in my life, and he's been asking me for years to write them and publish them. And just especially that phrase, like, the moral of the story is
Mhm.
that I've taken those characters and have created a children's story hopefully set to publish in the spring. We'll
Yeah.
see. Who knows with how things happen, but, um, that's set to publish. It's completely written, completely illustrated, and it ends with that very exact statement. It's about a boy who, has a speech impediment. He can't pronounce the sh sound, the sh sound, and
Right.
2 friends. It's basically about these 2 friends, Susie and Zach, who are helping him through that. And it's even though it's about, like, overcoming this speech problem, it's more about what these 2 friends can do for
Yeah.
this other friend who is struggling, like,
Yeah.
how they can help him. And then it ends with the moral of the story is because it has basically 2 paths, those who are struggling, those who feel like
Mhm.
they're different and ostracized and have a challenge, a limitation that they can't overcome by themselves, and
Right.
then the friendship side of things. So it
Yeah.
ends with the moral of the story is, um, and the goal is to help give resources,
Mhm.
for parents to help teach their kids to learn from other lessons, to learn from stories. And then I also have a resource. It's a free guide, which if you email me at amber@burdett.us, and I can share that with you so it can be in the story
Yeah.
notes or,
Yes.
um, I will send you a free guide, and it's 10 simple things that we can do as parents to help
Mhm.
instill that moral independence and, like, those moral values in our kids. Because I don't know exactly how it's going to happen, but I want to create these resources for parents, and I want to be a voice for parents to let them know, like, it's okay to not know who you are at times.
Yes.
But as long as you're trying, and as long as you're trying to be a voice for your kids,
Hmm.
you're doing what you're supposed to.
Right. Yeah, because he gave them to you for a reason, and what you do, especially around certain ages, like the younger they are, the better, because it's like you're able to teach them and mold them, and the lessons that
Yeah.
they're able to carry it. Um, they're able to carry it to school. They're able to carry it in every other
Mhm.
areas of their life as well. Because I remember I told you when you were writing the book. Now I'm starting to with my older ones because I have 18 and a 16-year-old, and it's like every morning I'm sending them a scripture of the day, and I'm asking them, okay, what did you get out of the story that you just read? Like, I don't want you just to read it like a book. I don't
Yeah.
want you to read it just because I told you to read it. I want you to ask God to say, Lord, I got this scripture as an assignment. What am I getting out? What can I get out of it? Like, when you read it, ask God to give you an understanding of what's
Mhm.
going on in the story. Because most of the scriptures are like literally random. Like, it's nothing that I'm praying about. It's just like I just need you to take some time to read because you're
Yeah.
on TikTok, you're on Facebook, you're on games, you're on all this other stuff all throughout the day. Just take like 10, 15 minutes of your day to read because that seed I want it to be planted in you to know. Okay, when I'm having a rough day or when I want to learn how to pray and I don't know what to say, this is my go-to, like even when if I might have skipped a day, oh well, mom skipped a day, but let me go ahead and read something so that I can continue that relationship with God and to
Mhm.
know who I am in him.
Mhm.
Because once they go out into the world, I mean, you can only do so much. You can be there for them, but you have to trust that the lessons that you gave them while they're under your roof
Mhm.
will carry them over because again, when we're teenagers, I know me, Chad, I was rebellious. I was hard headed, honey. But it took me till I turned 35, to be honest. I'm be straight up transparent. It took me to like within the last 2, 3 years of my life to take all the lessons that my mom and dad, taught me and it come back, to me because God got that fishing rod. Like you can only go so far, honey, but I don't know where you're going. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
bring you back, bring you back, and then all those lessons that they taught, all the stories that they've taught us, via Bible study or church services or whatever. All that comes back into play. As a child and that when you grow older, it's still there. So for
Mhm.
you to write the stories that your dad and your mom read to you, as well, and knowing that you have a daughter now, you're taking those same lessons to her, and then also spreading it to the world because your person next door might have a child that needs your
Mhm.
resources. You know what I'm saying? Like you have no idea what's going on behind somebody else's doors, but what you
Right.
have and what God has given you, the gift of writing those kind of stories will help the masses. Because I'm telling you, when it comes out in the spring, listen, I got two little ones that I can read them to, like because they're at the
Yeah.
age now where I can. I'm not gonna say manipulate, but I can,
Help shape and mold
I
them.
can help.
Encourage a little stronger.
Yeah, I can encourage them to do better because I'm like looking at some of these kids next door. I'm like, y'all can't go outside today. I'm good because
Yeah.
it's just a lot. But
And yeah, like my goal is especially reaching out to those parents who have kids between the ages of 4 to 8
yes,
because I feel like that is such a crucial time where you want to teach your kids to be strong and like have certain moral values so that way they're
yes,
not influenced by the world. But all of a sudden at 4 to 8, like they're entering school, like preschool and kindergarten and first
yes,
grade, and all of a sudden there's other people around where you're not constantly like I'm always here, like, I kinda know what's influencing them. So
right.
if you can teach them to have those, like, "This is what I'm learning, like, this is important to me,"
Hmm.
then it's easier to go into situations where something might feel a little bit off and stand strong to, like, "That isn't a part of who I
Yes,
am. That is not what I was taught, and I
yes,
want to be a strong, independent person, and I don't need to that just because Lucy over there is
Yeah. Right.
doing things.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Because that it's like a mini conviction, that comes over them and say, you know what? Yeah, no, that's not my mom, taught me better not to do this and not to do that. Because it's like, even with our own stories as adults, everything that we went through, we try to teach them the opposite. We try to teach them like what not to do. Like, this is the road that you don't want to do. This is what you don't want to do because this is where it leads to. And then you
Mhm.
have to go spend 20 years of your life trying to get over something that you could have just you could just listen, you know.
It's so true.
So, but yeah, I
Yes.
I definitely value the goals that you have as far as, reaching the youth as a young age, because you got to grab them while they're young,
Mhm.
because this next generation is what we need,
Yeah.
this is what we need, because after us, I don't know what's happening,
Yeah.
so we have to grab them now, before they actually hit that gravel dirt,
Mhm.
and try to help them, like you said, build them in God, of course, number one, straight across the board.
Yes.
Build them in God straight across the board, and then after that, you know, life. So
Mhm. And I always feel like there's days where I feel like a failure of a mother where I'm like, "Yes, go and watch Coco. Go and watch,
yes,
Moana." Just I can't function right now for myself, but I'm realizing it's the repetitive, constant little things we do, and, like, that's why I have that free resource,
mhm,
that I'd love to share with everyone because it's little things that we do daily. Little things like, "Hey, what did you learn today? Like,
yeah,
what did you learn from this situation?" It's little things and repetitive things where your kid might not even know what you're taught, like, might not realize what you're teaching them,
right,
but like you said, you look back at 35, like, you look back when you're an adult on those things your parents taught you. You're
yes,
like, "Oh, that's how that connected. Okay. Okay, I can use that and do that with my kids."
yeah,
And I'm still looking back and still realizing my parents weren't completely wrong.
right.
They might have been a little spot on with everything.
Just a little bit. I ain't even gonna give you that inch. I'm just gonna give you an inch. You definitely that, because I don't want you to know that you was completely right. Just know some of that,
Oh, yeah.
Because yeah, because
Exactly.
yeah, it's crazy. It's definitely crazy, because I had to call my mom like a while back with my oldest one. I was like, you know what, mom, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for all the gray hairs I gave you, all of the stress I gave you. From, like, if I would have just listened, I wouldn't have to. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I value that. So, like, in that, you know, being a journalist, because I know you're a writer, because you don't
Yeah.
have your books back there like you had. Yeah, yeah.
I know, I don't. I'm in a
In a
different
whole nother room.
location in the house.
But knowing that you're a journalist, writer, creator, because I'm sure there's gonna be a whole lot more books after these ones that come out. I'm sure of it,
Oh, yeah.
because it's definitely needed, for sure. So, like, after, so what are your, I guess, your next plans? As you, I mean, I know we do it daily, but like,
Of course.
yeah, we know our goals change every
I
single.
I can share my 5-year plan with you, and I can assure you things are gonna change and things are gonna adapt, but right now, the goal is
Yes, the goal is
the
what.
goal is not sure exactly how to do this, but, I'm starting to create blogs, and I'm starting to, use my social media as a platform, which I can share those with you if anyone wants to follow. Um, I'm starting to try to use those as platforms for here's kinda what I'm learning. Not saying I'm doing it right, not saying do everything I do, but here's what I'm doing
Listen.
so that way you can try and share your thoughts with me, and let's build
Yeah.
a community of moms striving to have strong moral values that they
Mhm.
can then teach to their kids so their kids can have strong moral values. That's the goal. The goal is just a bunch of resources,
Yes.
however they may look, and
Good.
we'll figure it out in the process.
Exactly. I definitely get that. And the only reason why I put my head down with a smile, because I was like, you didn't tell me that earlier, but I knew that you were doing a blog, but I'm in the same, we're in the same boat pretty much. 'Cause, like, I literally just did my Squarespace, website for blogging, and then also, made the page for Let's Be Real, and also a private page for Let's Be Real, for to build a community and just to encourage, you know, others that are out there, when they don't know what else to do, they can just go in and read it and be like, you know what, I got this, or just something that will encourage them throughout the day. Um, and then little scriptures and prayers as well, because I added the scriptures in the middle and the prayer at the bottom. So yeah, I'm growing with you. Listen,
Yes.
we
Yes,
are
I love
growing
it.
together. We are definitely growing together. And I also have a friend um, that I had interviewed a while back, but she has become my friend as well. And she has this business that she has, I don't want to say dealing because that sounds weird, but encouraging moms as well. She's got the website and all that stuff, and I would like for y'all to connect eventually. Um,
Yes, I love it.
so that, because like again, we're all here together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The more the merrier. Um, because I know what you have will help her as well, and what she has made,
Mhm.
help as well. Because it's helping me, child. Because even though I'm 18 years in the thing, I'm still needing, the resources and the questions on, how to be a better mom, how to
Mhm.
be a better person within myself, because it has to start with me first, and
Yeah.
then trickle down to them. So I'm with you on the social media. Listen, I just did it like yesterday, day before
Love
yesterday,
it.
something like that.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to grow up. Okay, I'm trying to grow up. So I'm with you on that. So I
And
definitely encourage
that's
you to
what I'm
continue.
realizing too. Like, all of us moms are constantly striving, not all, but, like, I feel like the majority of moms are
Yes,
constantly striving to be better, so that way they can help their kids be better.
yes,
And that's why I want that community. And
yes,
I'm not saying it's my community because it's
oh,
not my community. First is God's community, and second,
yes,
it is a community of
yes,
you, your platform, helping people realize, like, how to overcome with Christ and how to incorporate Christ in their lives. And each might have different morals of our story, but it
mhm,
is drawing us closer to Christ and drawing us closer to defining who we are so we can help others along the way.
absolutely. And I also learned the other day that how the Bible says a man leaves an inheritance for his children's children's children. All of that. Um, sometimes your sometimes your inheritance not is not always money.
Mhm.
Your inheritance can be what we're giving out now. The knowledge, the
Yeah.
understanding, how to handle certain situations, better than what we did, back then or whatever. Being
Mhm.
able to talk, being able to do certain things, those are also inheritances as well.
Yeah.
Because I might not have $1 million when the Lord bring me home, but the lessons that I've given you, the books that I made you read, the questions that I gave you to answer, those are also, what I'm saying, inheritance as
Yeah.
well. So, what you're doing as well, like as far as writing the books, journalizing, and all that stuff for your daughter, like those are inheritances for her
Mhm.
to, like a mantle, I would call it, because I learned that too. That mantle that that she can catch from you, and then grow from there. So it's gonna be amazing. That's all I can say. Like I'm super excited about what's about to happen and what God has in store for the community. And if he, when, as he uses us, because I hope I say if he uses us, but as he uses us, you know, he can drive, he can have it. Like,
Yeah.
let him, I'm just going to be obedient. I'm just a servant,
Yeah.
So I'm excited. I'm definitely excited about um, the connection again and also what God has in store. So, is there any last words or encouraging words that you want to share with the people?
Yeah. And, I mean, like, I know I said this throughout, but if there is one thing that I can hopefully send you off with that you can take, that you've learned, or not even learned, but, like, can take to heart is
Mhm.
figure out the moral of your story. Figure out what you want your life to be, and figure out who you want your life to be in. And for me, it's Christ. For me, it's my Savior, Jesus
Yeah,
Christ. And that might not look differently for different people, even within the same faith. But what is the moral of your story? and move forward with purpose. And if you want that free guide, that free resource, it's amber@burdett.us, and I will send it to you. I promise not to pester you a ton. I will just send it to you.
I'm, I'm gonna put it at the bottom of the notes. Like I said, the
Perfect.
first one. Listen, yeah, I'm live too, so y'all gonna know. I told y'all gonna hear my errors. Y'all gonna hear everything, my flaws, and all of that. So the first recording that we did, it got deleted by accident. Like I don't know what I was doing, but I'm glad that Amber was able to come back to us and talk to us again.
Thank you
Because
for having me.
absolutely, we are in a learning situation right now. How about that?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna leave it as is and call it a day because all the editing stuff. I'm growing up. I'm gonna have me a team of people that can do that for me after a while. Lord, listen. I'm just saying.
I love it.
that, that can help me do all of that. But yeah, I definitely appreciate you taking another moment to talk to me. Again, this is a forever God relationship. Um, because I'm definitely looking forward to whatever stage you on, whatever book you write, whatever the case that your name is on, I'm there. Like I'm definitely there. To
Well, thank
support
you so
every way.
much. And
Absolutely.
I'm here for you. Like
Absolutely.
100%. I'm here for you. I'm excited for everything you have, and I'm here for your audience, like the audience and those guests that you have, because
Yeah.
I just love your platform.
Absolutely. I just try to make it a conversation. Like I told the other lady, the one I had before, I was like, listen, I know like some people do like questions and stuff. Like I feel like that's just like it's a box that you keep yourself in. But if you just be like just be open and just talk like regular people, you know, it goes so much better for me. I'm not down in nobody else's interviews and nothing like that.
No,
But I just
you do what's best for you, for your journey,
you're
for
right.
your listeners' journey.
Right, exactly. Because we both get free in our conversations. Like, you know what? I could do that. Like, like
Yeah.
just different downloads from God. So I'm definitely looking forward to what's to come for sure. So, again, thank you so much for understanding
Thank
and coming
you.
back. I hope you enjoy your family that's coming in for the holidays. I almost said don't eat too much, but I can't say nothing because
It's a holiday. We all know we're gonna eat too much.
listen, I call it the fat girl syndrome coming up for the holiday. For the next 2 months, it's just gonna be what it is.
Oh my goodness, I love it.
It's gonna be what it is. But I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Tell the kiddo I say hello, your
I
husband
will. You too.
as well. So we'll be talking soon for sure.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye. Hey y'all, listen. Like I told y'all a minute ago, the first recording we had was amazing. This one was even better. So I'm good with that. I'm definitely good with that. But it's been amazing to talk to Amber and so many other people. Again, my platform is to try to give as many resources out as possible to make a platform of people being able to know that they're not alone in this journey, in this walk, and also to point them for sure. Number one, to point you and others back to God, because with God, like she said, Amber said, all things are possible. When we think that it's impossible, God steps in real quick, fast, and He works that thing out like it's just a drop in the bucket for Him. But again, I definitely appreciate you all coming to support, all the supporters via from the podcast to the website to the pages or whatever, because it's all God. Because your girl would have been like, nah, I'm good, because I like to play the background. I'm good with that. But knowing that God has so much more for all of us, we can't put it in a box. So I'm definitely grateful for what's definitely to come. I will put Amber's information in the bio, at the bottom, so that you can follow her, because those resources are definitely needed for sure. As far as being a parent of young children and knowing what the moral of the story is, to know what the purpose of the story was and having their own understanding of what the story is about. So, um, definitely, again, appreciate all of you. Um, I did it on my podcast after the recording last time. So, all the updates that's happening as far as with the website, let's be real.squarespace.com. It's not really just a big website. It's just a blog. Like, it's not nothing major, but maybe, somewhere down the line, I don't know, it will grow. But it's just a blog to go in and I go in and do a blog, doing encouraging words. Also, the page is on Facebook is Let's Be Real, Let's Be All Real. Also on Instagram, Let's Be Real 100. Um, Again, you can email me if you would like to share your story. Being real 0413 at gmail.com. My videos will all be on YouTube. And let's be real 100%. Be you, be, what is it? Be real, be you. I'm also just put the link at the bottom as well so that you'll be able to find it easily. Um, I'm gonna learn how to put the audio on Spotify because I know a lot of people listen to Spotify as they're working and all that stuff. So you'll have it all. I'm in a learning process, I promise. But I think that's about it. The book will be coming soon. Hopefully, it'll be in the mail tomorrow so I can proofread it and send it back out. Though I want to. I think that's about it. I'm not one that advertises anything. I'm gonna advertise God all day long. Um, but yeah, I think that's about it. So I definitely appreciate you all coming in to enjoy this conversation with me and Amber. Like I said, it definitely was amazing. It was better this time around because your girl is learning, and I'm grateful that she understood, everything that happened. Me learning in the process or whatever. Because she was literally my first um video interview. So I'll post this one first. I had one earlier, but I'll post this one first because it did come first, truly. And then I have another one with Miss Jill. Listen, I had to sit back in my chair and say, God, you're blowing my mind with the connections that He's given me. Because it's truly helping me. Like, I might be the host or whatever, but I'm here to listen and learn and to grow as well. Man, even with the ones that were just audio on the Spotify or Apple or wherever you listen to your podcast on the platforms. Those people and the people I'm just now meeting, I love it. These are like forever friendships, and I'm grateful. I'm definitely grateful for it. There is a transition that's happening, and I told you all that I will let you all know. I'm not gonna edit on this one, but I will tell you about it. It's not too much of a change, of course. I'm still, you know, still the same. Everything's still the same. Just a personal transition that I have been called out on. I've been called to the rug on. And again, when I say let's be real, I'm not just talking about just you. I'm talking about me. And you will see the transitions. You will see the flaws. You will see the good, the bad, the ugly, and the indifferent. So I'm definitely looking forward to sharing that stories with you as well. Um, I'm gonna share it with you, and then also the person that pulled me to the rug, um, who helped me under to see what it really was. Will be on here talking about it as well. So if y'all see tears, listen. Like I told you, you're gonna see transparency. You're gonna see it real talk. But yeah. Anywho, not to prolong the time, because I think we're like almost an hour and like 60 seconds. um, but yeah, I definitely appreciate all your support. I definitely appreciate everybody that has come into my life in this season and for a lifetime. Um, I will definitely be coming back to you all with another video. I got another interview couples tomorrow. And I will be posting them as well. So I hope you all having a fantastic Tuesday. And we'll come back and talk to y'all later. Bye. Uh oh.